It is exhausting trying to prove your worth every single day. We live in a world that tells us our value goes up and down based on our job title, how much money we make, or what we look like. But think about what would change if you didn't have to build your value from scratch. What if your worth was fully established before you took your first breath? This is the starting point for understanding human nature. We aren't random accidents, and we aren't spirits temporarily trapped in physical bodies. We are beautifully integrated beings who rely entirely on God for life. The book of Genesis tells us that God intended to make humanity in His image. That means your dignity doesn't come from anything you achieve. It comes directly from the intention of the Creator. Because of this, every single person on earth carries this reflection. It doesn't matter your social status, your gender, your bank balance, or your physical ability. You reflect the character of God. You don't have to earn your right to exist or be respected. Your identity and dignity are secure because they are a masterpiece gifted by God. To see how we are put together, we can look at the second chapter of Genesis. It describes God forming the first human from the dust of the ground and then adding the breath of life. Think of it like a wooden flute. If you hold a flute in your hands and blow air through it, you get a beautiful melody. The dust of the ground is like the flute, and God's breath is the air. Together, they create a living person. The music isn't a tiny ghost hiding inside the instrument. It only happens when the flute and the breath come together. If you break the flute, or take away the air, the music stops. This means you are one integrated whole. Just as the music cannot exist without both the instrument and the air, your body, mind, and spirit are woven together into a single life that cannot be pulled apart. Because you are a package deal, everything is connected. When you are physically sick, it affects how you think and feel. And when you are growing spiritually, it shapes your physical health and your relationships. God cares about your physical body and your mental health equally, because they are completely woven into your spiritual self. To make this relationship real, God gave humanity freedom. You cannot force someone to love you. True love requires the ability to choose otherwise. The tragedy of the story, described in Genesis chapter 3, is that humanity used that freedom to walk away. They chose to declare independence from their Creator. The results were immediate. Human nature fractured. And because humanity unplugged from the only source of life, death entered the world. The reflection of God within us was heavily damaged by this choice, but it was not erased. We find ourselves living in this tension. We are a beautiful creation, capable of great compassion and creativity, yet we all share in this brokenness and eventually face mortality. This is where Jesus enters the picture. He arrives as the true, perfect reflection of God, stepping in as the master restorer of this broken masterpiece. Where the first humans chose independence and distrust, Jesus lived a life of perfect reliance on God. Through the life and resurrection of Jesus and the work of the Holy Spirit today, God is actively healing our minds, repairing our bodies, and fixing our relationships right now. The gospel restores the entire person. It heals the damage sin caused and brings the masterpiece back to its original glory. Understanding this changes how we treat people every day. If everyone carries the image of God, we have a clear mandate to treat the vulnerable, the poor, and the marginalized with total dignity and justice. It also changes how we treat ourselves. Resting, eating well, taking care of our mental health, and stewarding the natural environment are all acts of worship. This unity changes how we face death. If life is the union of God's breath and our physical form, then death is the pause when they separate. The person is at rest, like a quiet, dreamless sleep, safe in God's memory, until the day He brings the two back together. The restoration process reaches its completion when Jesus wakes up those who are sleeping. He will call the dead back to life, reuniting their bodies with His breath. We look forward to living as whole, vibrant people on a renewed physical earth, where we can walk, work, and thrive together in the presence of our Maker. We are dust breathed upon by God. We are fallen, but deeply pursued by Christ. We are mortal, but destined for immortality. From the first breath in Eden to the final resurrection, your identity is safe, known, and perfectly loved by the Maker. Classic Adventist truth, clearly explained. Biblically grounded, Christ-centered.